Computer, and I'll go to Facebook Live. You can share it on Facebook Live, and then later today, Matt, the interview will come out of my YouTube, and then if you would take down the first one and put up the second one, however you want to do that.
I don't understand. Take down the first one.
So if you share this, it's nice if you share this one that we're live right now, and then later on today, I will send you the one that comes out from my YouTube. So when the one from my YouTube comes out, if you could take down the one you share now.
Oh, I see.
Or it's nice if people can see it live, but I also like it if I get clicks on my YouTube, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
So I just click to go live on YouTube, and we are live. So I'll do the intro to the show and your intro, and then you and I get our time to talk.
Fun.
Fun it is. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Comic Spot, interview number 1100, and nobody cares. I get it. It's just mostly for my ego. Fine. I'm here today with yet another fine comedian. We probably can borrow sugar from each other on the street. We both live in Vegas, and he's an excellent comedian. He's hitting the scene very hard, and I love him on and off stage, which is not always the case. But this one I do. So let me read you the introduction that he said, and if I can get my page to work on my phone. Okay, here we go. I'll say his real name last, but I'll tell you his intro first. Are you cool with that, people? Okay, here we go. Matt was a federal agent around the world for almost 30 years. Makes me feel so lazy. And quit to be a Las Vegas comedian. Yeah, we can all relate to that. MattCanBeFun.com and MattCanBeFun on all social media. June 11th, he'll be at the Splash Supper Club. Every Thursday, he hosts the Comedy College at Stakeout Bar and Grill here. And every Saturday, he co-hosts Fun Day Comedy at Noreen's Lounge. I love all those places. So welcome him to the stage right now. Matt Can Be Fun, Matt Andrew. Woo! That's him. Well, you look like you're ready for fun. What is that on the wall behind you with the horns?
Oh yeah, that's a trophy from Namibia. That's a Elon skull. I got the chance to actually I bought that one. I didn't take take that down. I do have a few that I've gotten myself.
It's a skull from what kind of animal?
It's an eland. It's like an antelope from Namibia.
Wow. So let's talk about being a federal agent. Once people find that out, do they think you're an undercover cop?
You know what? Yes, a lot of times they do. They think that I'm sent by the CIA to infiltrate the open mic comedy scene of Las Vegas for
Like anybody cares, right?
yeah, it's the most ridiculous idea. Like just for just that reason, no one's interested in the federal government. But
If you were undercover, you wouldn't say that you were a federal agent around the world for 30 years. You wouldn't give it away.
well, that's also true, I imagine. But yeah, yeah, there's just no interest in the federal government.
Yeah.
But,
So let's talk about your life growing up. Like how many brothers and sisters? What were you like at home as a kid growing up? What were you like in high school, in school, grade school, high school? Let's hear about little Matt Andrew.
oh, how nice. Yeah, well, my dad was in the Air Force. He was like a 36-year veteran of the Air Force. He was an officer, and so we moved around. So I grew up moving every 2 or 3 years, and I've got a little brother. I mean, he's bigger than I am, but he's 9 years young, a younger brother, and so yeah, he's 9 years younger than I am, and uh, Yeah, I was born in Germany, and
What
then
city?
I was born at Landstuhl Hospital, but we were stationed at Ramstein.
You
And
were in
then
Ramstein?
right, and then we actually went back there. I moved all around America. I spent a lot of time in DC, like a lot of military folks, but then but all over the place, South Dakota, Louisiana, Florida, Alabama. Anyway, we
Wow.
uh, and then but went back to Germany for high school. So I went to Ramstein American High School in from, let's see, 88 to 91, and then I went to college in Boston and spent a lot of time there, and that's where I joined. That's where I became a federal agent, and I actually did a little time in the Army too. I was in the Army Reserves. I was a special agent with them as well. So I kicked around for there for a little bit until what there was not much going on. It was like 1992, 93, and so my unit deactivated by the time I got back home from training, and I did a little time recruiting, and then went on to
You did
enact
recruiting?
for a little bit. Yeah,
What was
smiling.
that like? My ex-husband was a recruiter.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a place for me to do my drills because my unit had moved, and then they were deactivating. So there was a recruiter that agreed to let me do like drill with them. And so, yeah, I spent some weekends smiling and dialing for the U.S. Army, just kind of, getting hung up on and rejected. And,
Was
uh,
that in Boston?
yes,
Look out, see, I got onto it and I
yeah,
figured it out.
cracking, yeah.
Isn't
And
that
then,
right?
but I was a E3, and then I was just hanging out with them for my drills. So they had me like clean out the closet and like reorganize stuff. And but I did get to dial, to cold call some, and that was an experience.
So were you encouraged to lie to the people coming in?
No, I wouldn't say lie. Although you minimize the number of push-ups and maximize the like experience.
Totally.
Yeah,
Super. What kind of weird odd jobs besides being a federal agent and a recruiter, what other kind of were you a paper boy as a kid? Did you babysit? What were you a
I was
waiter?
really I did babysit, but I was really fortunate. I've been working for the same employer for all 30 years. So like since I was 15, I've been working for Uncle Sam. We were in when I was in high school in Germany, and so I got a summer job mowing lawns and working for the ground shop. So mowing lawns and weed eating and stuff for the U.S. Air Force. And I mean, it was kind of an important job. They have these F-16s are taking off and landing. If they get a bird strike, that's could be fatal. So we were mowing the lawns around the runway, and just going out there with a weed eater and stuff. And it was a great job. I love it. I do have tinnitus. I think there's a lot from that because I would put on my Walkman headphones under the hearing protection, and then you had this a gas powered weed eater with a metal blade on it was quite loud, and then F-16s are taking off and landing next to me, so my ears really suffered. So,
Wow.
uh,
So you
but then
mean I could come up to you and yell and you wouldn't even know it?
no, it's just extra sensitive. I'll know it, especially I'm always like, it's too loud.
So
Um,
do you have PTSD from the loud noises?
oh, I wouldn't never claim PTSD, but yeah, it was loud.
Do you have ringing in your ears like tinnitus?
Always, yes, yeah, I did.
Oh, that must be a pain.
Yeah, I mean, it's the crossover. I mean, I did to myself, but uh, the following summer, we were moved to Incirlik Air Base in Turkey, and
Oh,
so after I graduated, I worked there for 3 months at the Travel Accounting Squadron because I planned to major in accounting, and there was no real accounting to be done. It was paperwork. But one thing that was funny there is that so we did all the accounting for everybody in the Air Force that came for Desert Storm, and so it was just a lot of like travel orders for people coming in and out of that.
so I
That
was
came.
in finance. So did you do the money or just the paperwork, like to get them to and from?
It was, I mean, I was a gopher. I was really just helping out. So they were doing the paperwork for all the travel for everybody came through all the vouchers. One thing that I did was the shredder broke, and the Privacy Act says that you can't, you have to protect everybody's like name and social security and date of birth. They can't ever be disclosed. And so because the shredder had broken, I was the shredder. So I would just like, I spent a month, I think, just tearing all the social security numbers away from the names and the dates of birth.
You had to do it by hand?
Yeah, yeah, that was my job.
Do you have strong fingers, or do you have carpal tunnel and repetitive motion?
Oh, I strong fingers, I think.
Heck, have you ever ripped a phone book? That's what we used to do in my day.
Yeah. Did you do that?
We tried.
Yeah, there you go. No, I've never tried.
The secret to doing it is ripping it on the binder part, on the, like if
On
you
the
try to do
spine.
it the other way, you'd be there all week, but you got to get it where it's weak.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you grew up all over and you had some odd jobs and you started working for Uncle Sam when you were 15 years old. And you didn't even have to lie about your age.
No, no, it was a summer job. I was getting paid like $1.50 an hour, I think. It was it's nice though because I mean a lot of that time counted towards my retirement eventually. So having that singularity of employment was really fortunate. It allows me to be where I am now.
So tell me, is your marital status single or married?
I'm married. Yeah, married, two kids.
Married, because you'd be a real catch with that pension there that you got there.
Tell my wife, yeah.
Watch her pop out to look at me. Yeah. Okay, so you stopped working for Uncle Sam so you could come to Vegas and do comedy. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, I mean, it was something I started dabbling in when we were in DC. I did my first open mic set there, and
How
just
did
kind
the
of
first one go?
it went well. It was a bringer show, so I had ten audience members who were my friends, and it was also a paid audience, and it was a 3 minute set that for which I had very well prepared, and so it went very well. It was fun.
Nice.
I've had a lot worse shows since then, but that one was good, and
So
it was a
have
good
you been
experience.
doing comedy like 4 years now?
Yeah, 4 years plus. So I started in about 2019.
And so, okay, so that's a little bit more than four. And so, my bad. So, how have you enjoyed, like, you're coming in a little before the pandemic, through the pandemic, and now after. Talk to us about what you've observed and witnessed, and how do you like it?
Oh, I mean, I love it. That's the only thing I want to do now. You might call it an addiction. I just, I go out every night to perform somewhere, if I can. And yeah, I mean, it was, so I got in 2019. I was doing it like every day until the pandemic. And then, like most people, I took a couple years off there. That also coincided with my move to Namibia. So I was assigned to Namibia, right after the or to move there right after the pandemic, and so we moved there during the pandemic, and then my work there was very busy, and so I just didn't perform for 2+ years out of that chunk. So it was a kind of a
We're
hiatus.
busy trying to find things to hang on your wall behind you.
Yeah, I did a little bit of that too, but the well, I was in charge of the security of the new embassy construction there, and so those construction guys, they work a lot, and so we would screen 1,000 workers every morning, and I was in charge of that, and so it was every day. It was 7 days a week most weeks, or I guess at least 6 days a week most weeks, and then and 12-hour days, and anyway, it was didn't leave a lot of time for comedy. So I took a break there, and then we moved to Las Vegas, and I started, I had the opportunity to start doing comedy again. So I'd go out and kind of moonlight, sneak off at night and do it while I had a day job there for about a year, a good year and a half, 2 years.
So, what was your little day job that was a year and a half? What
Uh,
type of?
yeah, I was in charge of the Las Vegas office. So my job was with the Diplomatic Security Service. I guess I didn't just to tell you that. So that's for the U.S. Department of State, the Foreign Service. So Well, what they do is they secure embassies overseas, or they manage the security of embassies overseas. They do criminal investigations of passport and visa fraud, but they use that as a nexus to get into counterterrorism and counterintelligence investigations as well.
Wow.
Overseas, you're the ambassador's consultant on security, and then you work a lot with other federal law enforcement agencies on their own cases. Um, and here they also do dignitary protection, so like Secret Service style protection with the earpiece, protecting dignitaries. The U.S. Secretary of State when he goes anywhere, but especially overseas, and then protecting foreign dignitaries when they're in America too. So all that to say, yeah, I was in my last job was in charge of the Las Vegas office of the Diplomatic Security Service, and so I moved here to do that, and did that for a couple of years before I retired.
And you said to yourself, I've had enough of this crap. I want to try making people laugh. What is it that made you say enough with the government work?
I mean, I wouldn't say I had enough of this crap. I enjoyed it. I loved every day there. It was a great job. I wouldn't trade my time there for anything. I woke up every day and put on my socks, excited to go to work. That was a great job. But they are worldwide available, and you have to move. And part of the reason I had moved to Las Vegas is my dad got sick, and so he was sick, and we moved in. They sold their house in Arizona. We sold our house in DC, and we bought a big house in Las Vegas to accommodate everybody while my dad had cancer. He eventually passed away, and
Sorry.
well, I mean, it happens. But my mom now lives with us, and my daughter's in high school, so we kind of went all in on Vegas, and moving was out. That wasn't going to happen anymore for us. So rather than trying to figure that out, I was eligible to retire, and I had this new passion in comedy. I was looking at our financials and realized I was able to pursue it, and so we decided to make this our home. And then I realized that I was able to with my pension, with my savings, go full time into comedy. So
Super. Where'd the passion for comedy come from? And how long had you, excuse me a second, how long had you suppressed the desire to do comedy, or when did it bubble up inside of you?
I mean, I think I've always enjoyed humor, and when I was looking back through my papers, and I was looking through like an old assignment where I had written this humorous newsletter about about our unit, and it was just like I was always doing stuff like that. I don't know if I suppressed it, but but once I had a friend that had, somebody had mentioned, like, and this is like, I don't know, 15 years ago, that oh, he was a comedian. He was a foreign service officer, and he's like, well, I did an open mic a couple times, and then that just kind of like opened the possibility, like, oh, there's a way to do that. And so I started looking into open mic comedy when I was in DC, and kind of like, what would the path be? Kind of found out that there is a middle class of comedy that you can make a living in, without having to be a star. You could also make a living in other ways. And then I started like watching open mics, and kind of realized how crappy you could be and still be an open mic.
Totally.
Once you see an open mic, you kind of realize, oh, I could probably, I could do that. And then
Do that.
so I started dabbling there, and just kind of fell in love with the scene. And
What was your first open mic like? You said you had a bringer show, and that went really well, but your very first couple open mics, what were they like for you?
um, I mean, it was just a really fun scene. I enjoyed it so much. I think that one of the real draws to me was the fraternity of comedians, that you could be one of the cool kids that hangs out in the back, and they just all seemed like cool people that I wanted to be around. And so that was a real draw for me. And it's something I latched onto right away, to be able to discuss like the technical aspects of comedy, and once that's, I really geek out on that, just kind of like a pause here, or you reword that, or, a little bit more facial expression, or whatever, the dark art really of comedy, the secret technical aspects to it, I really enjoy very much. And so being able to be one of the cool kids standing on the sidewalk with the comedians while they hung out after the show was a just an immediate benefit that I really latched onto and wanted to do more.
Absolutely. And now you have all these things that you're doing on a regular basis in Vegas. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, I've just I'm really fortunate in that I'm doing something that I love, so it never really feels like work. It's always something that, and I don't have a day job, so it's I could take a nap and then go all night, and so I'm just really lucky that I can grind as much as they call it a grind, but I don't feel like that. It's fun for me. I'm always excited about the next. I don't like I don't. It's not a grind. It doesn't feel like a grind at all, though. That's what we call it. So so I'll do since I was doing moonlighting some while I had the day job, but then when I retired in August, September of last year, I was able to do it full time. And so I'll do, 3, 4 open mics a night and just really kind of refine my act and meet everybody. And so that really allowed me to progress faster, I think, than a lot of people than I would have otherwise if I was just doing it for once or twice a week. I could just kind of amplify the progress that I've been able to have. And so, yeah, I've been able to, I'm able to, I kind of fell into this open mic at the Stakeout Bar and Grill, which is just been wonderful. They were doing a music open mic on Mondays. And then the comedians started filtering into the music open mic. The guy that runs that open mic, the music one, named Jeff, is just the sweetest guy. It's so kind. And so, but we were kind of taking advantage of it because he, for a music open mic, you get 3 songs. It didn't really wasn't strict with the light for the comedians, and so we were taking advantage of it. And then they got tired of all the bodily fluid jokes that we were doing and everything. And so, but at the same time, their management was looking to do something on Thursdays. And so I had gotten to know Jeff, or more to the point, he got to know me a little bit in my act, and he trusted me. And so he put me in touch with the manager and said, if you want to do a comedy open mic on Thursdays, Matt's the guy. So we were just I said, well, let's start it right now. So we got that going, and it's been so much fun. I love it. I have a co-producer, Michael Mercanio, helps me out with that, and he's been just a joy to work with, and everybody's been so receptive. It's been just a blast.
Weren't you co-hosting with, I think, Josh Lidauer, and I came
Yep.
in, I came there and it's a bar and I did my set and I started screaming at the people. Do you remember that?
I don't remember you screaming at them now.
I said,
Afterwards in the bar, not on stage,
huh?
not from the stage, but
Oh, from the stage. The people at the bar were just talking, and I said, shut the hell up. I put 10 years into this, and you're not going to ignore me.
I do remember that now. So yeah, that's another great job that I've gotten. So Ian Rainier is the producer of Fun Day Comedy, and he runs open mics, and gives comedians a platform to host, and then he had been co-hosting and doing the sound for all of them, and I just adore Ian and that Fun Day. So I was kind of a Fun Day comedian before anything else. I was going to all their mics, and so when he's decided to, I would kind of weasel into filling in for him if he wasn't feeling well or if he couldn't make it on Saturdays. Josh Ladauer is a great friend as well. He gave me my first, one of my first feature sets at his show at Noreen's, and has kind of been a champion of mine. So some might call him a rabbi. And then so anyway, yeah, when Ian was looking to do one less night a week, he gave me the co-host job at Noreen's. And so now weekly, in addition to Stakeout, I run sound and co-host with Josh at the Noreen show, which I just adore. It's so much fun. We just did it last night. I was there till 2. So
I can't think of 2 better guys to be there with, Ian. I love your personality. You're always even keel. You're not you're just a great addition to the comedy scene, and I just appreciate you every time I see you. I've never I've never not had a great experience running into you.
Well, that's a great endorsement from you, Linda, and it means a lot coming from you because everybody feels the same way about you. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a fun scene. I'm gonna miss it when I go to New York, but things have always happened a little bit better for me in New York than here, and they're starting to happen even more so. So I think I'll take up the offer to go there.
That's fantastic. I'm excited for you. I didn't know that. That's news to me. But you know what? I would say that the Zoom works from New York, and the flights go back and forth from New York regularly, and so it's not a loss. It's just an addition of now we have a great contact in New York, and so
Absolutely.
I definitely will plan to come and see you there, and I hope that you'll come back and see us again.
Yes. I'm going to be looking for as many open mics that I can host in New York as possible. I've landed one on a regular basis, but I'll be looking for more. So,
That's fantastic. Yeah. Well, and showcases too, I would think you're certainly prepared to do that.
yeah, I don't like running a bringer show, but I don't mind hosting in New York City for the mics and helping young comics have stage time and give them feedback afterwards and put them in but the bringer show scenario, that's for people that are much more aggressive than me. Or is it I?
Uh, I think either one of those is correct. But um, yeah, I don't judge what anybody does. It's hard to make a living in comedy, and so if you're trying to make money on an open mic, that's it takes a lot. And so, um, but yeah, certainly we all I feel really lucky in that I get to run an open mic that allows us to kind of allows the venue to make money off of the people that are coming in creative vibe. And in general, of course, I always try and it's better to not make money off the comics if you can. If you can make money off the audience, that's really the goal, I think. And so if you're able to try and, I think that's uh, the that's the ideal, is that you could build an audience and then you're making money off their participation in it. And the comics are colleagues and talent.
Yes, yes. So when you come to New York, you'll have an ally. So
Yeah,
come to New York. I plan to be there February 1st. So
awesome.
that's the goal. And I'm kind of like you. I have a disability from the military and Social Security, so I'm not worried about the money. I do run out of money every month, but I'm not worried about the money like I would be if I didn't have that nest egg every month coming in. It's not really in, but every month money comes, it just falls from the sky.
It's a fortunate position to be in. Yeah, no, I agree.
Yes.
And yeah, it allows you to make decisions in a different way because you don't have this scarcity-based mindset that you have to try and kind of worry, which I think can become a downward spiral of negativity. And so
Yes. So
when
many
you come from this place
comedians
of
like
abundance,
couch surf or they have to sleep in their car or on the street. I mean, I've seen so many comedians try to make it in this business, and it's such a long haul until something comes through for people, you know?
it is a really tough hustle, and they're underappreciated. I think. I mean, the to try and make your career out of making people laugh and bringing them joy is really admirable in a way that I don't think a lot of people appreciate. And it's the sacrifice that that my colleagues make in order to do that is, yeah, underappreciated. And there's so much you see so much substance abuse and mental health issues and depression among these people that have this really admirable goal. It's
So true. What's been the secret to your comedy writing? Like, talk a little bit before I let you go. We'll wrap up in a minute, but talk to me a little bit about when you get inspired to write. How does that happen? Like you're watching TV and they're talking about a topic and it makes you, or do you like, I just want to hear what inspires you to get going on a regular basis? And do you write stories and then whittle them down, or do you write premises and then come up with the punchlines, or do you write punchlines and come up with the premises later?
um, premise first. So I'll have an idea that just strikes me as funny, and then I will always stop whatever I'm doing and put that into the notes app on my phone and save that premise, because these thoughts come through, and if you if you don't grab it, I think Jeff Foxworthy is, I heard him say that's the difference between comedians and other people, is everybody has these thoughts, but we'll hold on to it and then torture it until we get a joke out of it. I right now I don't really do stories. I am trying to write a book, and so I'm kind of putting all my longer form humorous anecdotes into that. But my on stage is more kind of set up, punchline, tag, and so I'll take a premise and I'll put it into my phone, and then I'll try. I mean, I try every day to sit down and write, and with no distractions, and come away with punchlines. And so what I do is go in through my phone, pull out those premises, and write that down, and say, okay, what's a punchline off this? What's a different punchline? And then you go on stage and find out that that's not actually funny, and then then you torture it through telling it over and over and over again for different audiences and open mics in order to actually make it funny. As I've been doing it longer, I'm my percentage of times that I actually think that this is a funny punchline and then actually get a laugh the first time on stage is getting higher, because it's a muscle that you build, I think.
Fabulous. Yeah. Isn't that funny how it works? I heard of a comedian that went on the road this weekend, and she was riffing on stage, and she was coming up with it in her head, and it was slaying in the room.
Yeah, now and then that happens, and I'll try and do improv at the top of my sets, riffing off of things that have happened in the room. Anytime something happens in the room, I'm trying really hard to not just recite material, but to be present, and build this, community that you have in the room. And so I try to notice and then and riff off of the things that are happening in the room, or if something crashes in the kitchen, or somebody sneezes, or whatever, then that's not going to take away from my set. It's going to add to it. And so that's a lot of the writing can happen that way too. And then sometimes
that's such a wonderful gift to give the audience, because they know that it's something so special that you might not ever say to another crowd. It's just for them.
Well, that's really the difference between comedy and every other art form, right? You can recite you can practice the violin in your room. You could recite your poem over and over again in your room. Then you can go and recite, or give that to an audience. But comedy is a communal thing that we're going to build together, the audience and the comedian, and you can't do it alone in your room. And so you have to build your act with an audience. And so that's the one thing I've really one lesson I've learned is that at open mics, you're not getting paid, and the pay is your experience. And so rather than just work on the wording of the thing, why don't I really take advantage of that experience? That's my pay at that point. So I really want to do that. I'm trying to carry that over to actually paid gigs as well, because it's, yeah, like you say, it's more fun.
Yeah, yeah. So who are some of the people you mentioned? Ian and Josh Lidauer. So who are some of the people in some of the clubs you like to give a shout out to that have been super supportive, or do you want to skip past that?
I mean, I would hate to leave anyone out, but of course, Wise Guys gives us a paid audience 2 days a week. That's just a joy, I think, that, and a real advantage that Vegas comedians have that a lot of cities don't. So you can get up and do that. So I'd want to thank Asa and Cassie or Wise Guys for continuing that for us. And I would, gosh, like I said, I hate to leave anyone out. Randall over at Dive Bar, that's a tough room that allows you to go through that in a way that's like a gymnasium, really, for us, that really builds you as a comic. Steve McElnelly at Rick's Rolling Smoke, he's kept that going for years, and that's a fun room. Also, he does his best to minimize distractions, but it can be a challenging room, but also a fun one, because everybody there is into it, and it's that's just a blast. And everybody at Fun Day, he's got 4 or 5 hosts that I can't. Of course, Dennis Lavender, who was a Fun Day host, and now is doing his own show at Splash Supper Club, where I'll feature, this Wednesday. So I know I've left somebody out probably, but
that's okay. Just whoever comes to your mind is great. Nobody's gonna say, why didn't you mention it on Linda's little tiny podcast? But but don't you love Dennis Lavender?
Oh yeah, he's a joy. Yeah, sweet guy. Yeah, also a very talented comedian and feature in his own right. And so yeah, there's so many of these guys. You just treasure your time with them because you know that their knowledge is so plentiful.
Yeah. I think, in some of these interviews that I've done, I've talked to people that have 20, 30, 40, 50 years in the biz. And one of the things that stands out for me is that how they feel so like unappreciated. Like
Mm.
they've done all this work and all this time, and they've gone across the country, done comedy for the troupe, and they walk into a club and nobody knows them and nobody cares to know them. Like there's no, like it's not around the country among comedians. There's no hierarchy or seniority or recognition. It's like, and even if you move from one city to another, you're starting at the bottom.
Yep. There's no path, if you, especially for those of us that were in the government or any kind of workaday job, you're used to a career progression. And here it's so ephemeral and hard, opaque. It's just hard to discern. And everybody's kind of flailing about in their own way, and so nobody could tell you. People will tell you, they'll give you advice, and this is how you do it, but that's how they did it, and maybe not the way that you will do it. And so it's that's a tough hustle. It's
The
you
way
know
that you got to where you're at is very different from the last two interviews of the ladies I interviewed, not because they're ladies, but they had a different trajectory to get where they're at in a short period of time. Like both of them are about a year in the business, and they had different things that happened to them, different from each other. So like everybody has their own path.
right, and that path sometimes leads nowhere. And so and so I mean, that's the fear that we all have. And so there's and it takes a lot of vulnerability to really kind of put yourself on stage in a spotlight to say, this is what I think is funny, and this is allow me to try to entertain you. And so to go and do that on a regular basis, and then also have no idea how this is going to lead to any kind of form of success. It breeds a lot of insecurity, and so a lot of us carry that around with us. That fear.
Yeah. So you're a comedian that has a child in high school, and your mother lives with you, and you have a wife.
Two kids, one's in college and one's in high school, right?
Oh, okay. Thank you. And so you probably don't really have any desires to do long, extensive road trips in the near future.
I mean, I have a ardent desire to do that, but yeah, I haven't been as successful as I would have liked. I went up to San Francisco on a trip, and let's see, where did I go last? Man, I can't believe that. But yeah, I do try and get out. Oh, Seattle. I was in Seattle for a week, and yeah, I would love to. I have an RV, and my one vision that I have is that I could drive and do like a East Coast tour, and spend time in the RV. I also did a festival in Texas, and drove my RV out to Austin, and went and did that festival in Texas out of my RV, and that would be a real dream. And yeah, I do have a family to support here, but to the extent that I'm able to, I'd like to do more road work, because the road is a joy. No one's heard your jokes, and so you
Isn't
could
that great?
you do your solid gold hits, and they're like, "Who is this guy?" So
Totally. Yeah.
high
Do
five's
that.
pretty.
Do your tried and true material every time. Like, wow, they love me here.
Yeah, it's a real fun experience, and it's just fun to see a whole different scene. One thing that's funny too is you realize that every scene has similarities, and so you're like, oh, we have one of you in Vegas. You know what I mean? Like there's that guy, there's that gal, there's that guy, and you're like, oh, that person from Vegas is old here, or young there, or a girl there. They're the archetypes, you have the same ones. Yeah.
It's so true. So true. And then you run into people that have been in different scenes, and you'll go in somewhere in some little tiny town. I have a friend that went somewhere this weekend, and the person that was running the show had just been on a different show that we had volunteered at in a whole different state. You just don't know when you're going to re-meet people.
And part of the joy is that connection and fraternity that you get, because, and I relate it to being a cop, a federal law enforcement officer. If you were working a detail with cops from Namibia or Macedonia or Afghanistan, you had an instant connection because you knew that you had the same frustrations and joys, and it's uh, equal the amount of connection that you're able to make with other comedians, because there's just it's really fun when you meet somebody and get to connect with them in that way. Just start, hey, have you thought about this tag or whatever? But then you start to when you can talk shop with them and then connect, it's a joy. It's equal to the joy I get from connecting with an audience. I think is the connection with other comedians.
I like the way you put that. It's so important. If you're a new comic or you're thinking about getting into comedy, you can have all the jokes you want in your arsenal, but if you can't have likability or connectability, then you won't get the high laughs. You'll get,
Yeah,
other.
I don't like to judge, but yeah, some people come off as like that's one thing I learned too, is to come off like I'm having fun on stage, and so that the audience can have fun too, because so many people are like, I mean, it is stressful, and but you can come off as so negative. It's a trap that we can fall into as comedians, I think. So it's just like, the goal is to make them laugh, and so you might want to appear to be having fun, in other, or if it was a poetry slam or something, then maybe a different tack might work better. But
Yes. Even when I yell at an audience to shut the hell up, I'm doing it like your grandma, like I can get away with this. The young comics are gonna let you go all night without saying anything. But I'm gonna tell you, I'm old, I'm gonna say it.
well, that, yeah, and you bring up Noreen's. It's a tough room. It's a bar show. Some of the regulars are there every day, and they happen to also be there during comedy. They don't want to stop doing what they do on every other night of the week while they're there, and the comedy happens to be going on. We're kind of inflicting it on them. I've heard it called an ambush show, and it's good to stay positive, and sometimes you're just not going to connect with every audience member, and so it's a lesson that you learn there too. Every room has its own lessons, and the harder the room, the easier it is to get those lessons. If you can grab them with your humor, so much the better.
When I was at the dive bar like 4 years ago, them chatty Cathy's at the bar, I did the same thing. I said, "Oh, hell no, you're not gonna ignore me. I didn't go through all this to be ignored. You're gonna listen to me." And then they turned around and listened.
The dive bar, sometimes it's I love Randall. I love that spot, and I go there regularly. But yeah, it's a challenge, and that's when you can appreciate that for that, that this is, you're gonna have fun with it. I mean, I've been there. There's like two people in the bar, and they're both heckling me. I mean, it can be
Totally.
I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get 0 laughs, and I'm gonna be up there for, sometimes it's like 12 minutes of like just nothing, or
And
everything
when
that
the comedians heckle you because they've had one too many drinks or not enough Prozac, holy Toledo, off the rails.
but it's all positive experience. You're not going to get worse. So
No.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
you
I
just have to.
like the dive bar. I'll have to, when I get back from my New York, London trip, I'll have to come back to the dive bar. I love it.
It's renowned, and it's a special place, and in its own way.
Somebody famous got their.
Doug Stanhope. Doug Stanhope performed there, and yeah, he's such a kind of a dark comic that you can tell. It's like that was very fitting, and so a lot of people go there just because of that, and then they're like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah, yeah. I like the way that Ian Rainier runs all his shows. I love I don't always feel safe in every single mic scenario, but I always feel safe around Steve McAnally, and I always feel safe anything Ian Rainier has his hands in.
I can see that entirely. Yeah, absolutely. Those guys are just they always stay positive, and that's goes a long way.
Yes. So remind people of your socials. And please tell us anything in addition to your passionate weekly commitments that you love. Anything in addition to that where you're going to be performing.
So yeah, I'll be at Dennis's Splash Supper Club this Tuesday. That show starts at 8, and I get to feature there. And let's see. Oh, Donna has a show, Cougarlicious, in late July. I'm one of the Tomcats of her Cougarlicious show, and so I encourage everybody to check her website out where she's selling tickets. Um, and then
That's at
yeah,
the Ahern.
correct. Yep.
The
And
big
then
deal.
yeah, it's exciting. And then yeah, so every week I'm at Stakeout and on Thursdays, and Noreen's on Saturday. So my socials, MattCanBeFun.com. I have a website that we've put a lot of work into, and so MattCanBeFun.com is the best place. I'll put all my dates there, and that's a great place to also try and book me too if people are looking to book. And then Matt Can Be Fun is my handle on every social media. So it's like Math Can Be Fun, but Matt, because I'm Matt. Matt Can Be Fun. MattCanBefun. So I'm there on mainly I post on Instagram and Facebook, but I'm also on, I don't know, Tumblr, Reddit. I just lock that. As soon as social media comes up, I grab it for Matt Can Be Fun.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on, sharing your life. And before we head out, do you have anything you want to tell people who are going to comedy for their first time, or regulars, or new comedians, or seasoned? Do you have anything you want to say to people?
Um, don't delay. I'd say like a lot of us always want to do it someday, and make it today. There's an open mic near you. Like, get started. You'll never regret starting today. So, but you will regret waiting another week or year. And so I'd say
Totally.
especially for aspiring comics to get on stage, and for current comics to I mean, who am I? But get on stage more often. I think there's I just there's that's the magic that fixes everything. I think, is getting up as often as possible. Well, at least for me, it has been.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your 30 years of service to our country.
Oh,
And
thanks.
thank
Thanks.
you so, and I know you said you were in the military too, but that's a lot of service to our country. So I want to acknowledge that.
Oh, well, thanks. Well, I feel like I think we all serve in our own ways, and comedians are serving in their own way. And,
Yes,
but we all
yes,
serve.
we all do in all different ways. Thank you so much, Matt, for coming on. Matt Can Be Fun on social media, Matt Andrew in real life. You'll love him. You got to watch him, watch his comedy, support him, follow him, click like, subscribe, whatever you got to do. Push buttons for this guy because he's so nice off stage and on, and funny, and you're going to love him.
Thank you so much, Linda. Again, it means a lot coming from you, because we all adore you.
Well, it's so sweet to hear. I had a bad day yesterday, so hearing that today makes me almost choke up.
Oh,
Thank
well,
you.
all right.
Thank
Well,
you
thanks.
so much.
It's a pleasure.
Bye.